Maurice Jordan. My part in a generation heard and how I helped change it. My part in a generation heard and how I helped change it. Maurice Jordan.
My part in the generation heard, and now I help change it. Now, I don't want this to come to a shock to anybody, but I was not always this conservative-looking sergeant at arms you always see, with the gold pen. The other 6 days is my American flag. No, sometimes I used to wear short-sleeve shirts like this. Because in my generation, when I was growing up, it was supposed to be like the cool generation. And when we hooked school, we used to do different things to stay out late in case we got caught. Me and my friend Eddie, we snuck into the Boston Garden one day. There was all these people going in, it was hockey season, we figured, look, it's a hockey game, let's sneak in. I think it was 16. So we snuck into the Boston Garden, and there was a concert. Jimi Hendrix. Yeah, that's what I said. And then I said, who's Jimi Hendrix? But Eddie knew, because Eddie, he played guitar, he was teaching me how to play at the time. We were 15, 16 years old. So, we sat through the concert, and my life changed that day. I mean, my hair started growing long, my shirt started getting a little more wild, just things just started happening in my life. And about a year later, we were in Derry, New Hampshire. And when we were in Derry, New Hampshire, Eddie was telling us about this concert called Woodstock in New York. And, I mean, we all knew New York, but we didn't know Woodstock. He was telling us about the bands that were going to be there. He was telling us about, these great big bands. I didn't know the big band. I said, but we have to go. Let's go. He said, well, what do you mean? Yeah, we'll hitchhike. I mean, that's what I did most of my life, hitchhike everywhere. So Eddie and I were Derry, New Hampshire, hitchhiking up the road. First car that came by stopped. Get in. I looked, I said, we have to get in, Eddie. It's my dad. So he brought us back to the cottage in Derry, New Hampshire. And we were sitting there, thinking, well, we got to get to Woodstock, right? So what we did is we started putting our clothes on because we knew it was going to be a long walk to New York. So we bundled up. And and in the meantime, remember the headbands and the long hair? Well, that's what I had. Give me a second here. I want to give you an idea of what I look like. Here you go. Woodstock is fascinating. On our way to Woodstock, we get about 3/4 of the way there, and we hear these guys saying, "The New York State Thruway is closed, man." Eddie looks at me and says, "What are we gonna do, man?" And I said, "We're gonna walk, man. I mean, because we're the generation, and we had to make our name and fame." So we got to Woodstock, and we're sitting behind the stage, and I pick up this guitar, and I'm playing this guitar, and all of a sudden this band gets up on stage, and it was Joe Cocker and the Wild Englishman, and he's looking for his guitar, and he couldn't find it, so they had to play the song. So he's up there to play air guitar. What we're gonna do if I sang out of tune? And he became famous for that. Because I had his guitar, I made him famous for that. The next band was The Who, Roger Daltrey. He gets up on stage, and he was scared because he didn't know what to do during the middle of the breaks because he didn't play an instrument. So I ran up on stage and I said, "Hey, Roger, man, you swing the microphone around like this, when you're playing the guitar." And he did. He became famous for that. I mean, you all saw Forrest Gump, and he was supposed to help Elvis find his dance, and he called 911 on the Watergate people, so whatever. I mean, that was a movie. I mean, this is Woodstock. This is the real thing, man, So we get up on the stage, and we look out, and we hear this lady breathing really hard. And she's trying to have a baby in front of Woodstock and God and everybody. And I looked at John Sebastian, I says, "John, you're going to write a song about this." He said, "Yeah, man." And he wrote a song. "I had a dream last night." I said, "John, that's cool, man. You got to go sing it." So he sang that song on stage at Woodstock because I told him to write it. But then the best is yet to come, because we went sliding in the mud that it started raining at Woodstock, and we were all naked, you know, because that's what Woodstock was about, peace, love, and being naked. I mean, it was really cool, flower power and all that. But there were some people that didn't look cool naked. I mean, really naked. I mean, like, yuck. But that was the last night, you know, and then this guy got up on stage and he started playing the songs, and it was Jimi Hendrix. And I said, Eddie, remember we saw him when we hooked school? He said, yeah, and he played for like 2-3 hours, man. And all of a sudden, he didn't have any more songs. So he starts walking off stage, and the stage guy yells out, hey, Jimmy, we need 15 more minutes, man, 15 more minutes, man. I looked at Jimmy's face, I mean, he was blank, he didn't know what to do. So I ran up on stage, I said, hey, Jimmy, it's me, man, Maurice J Jordan from the Boston Garden, remember? Play the Star Spangled Banner, man. And the rest is just like rock and roll history. Adam Toastmaster.
Maurice.
Hi.
There's no need to vote since he's our only contestant for this portion of the contest, but you can fill out the evaluation and any